Gustavo Souza. Hip 3 from U.S., Chase Weaverling. Hip 4 from Mexico, Christopher Cruz. Hip 5 from USA, Connor Hendrickson. Hip 6 from Bolivia, Vidal Basco. Hip 7 from Canada, Ihab El Sandali. About to have 25 laps. This tough race, 7 competitors. I always wish for a bigger field just so that the runners will have people to compete against, be able to run in groups. I have a feeling they're going to start off in a group like we saw in the women's 5K. And just wanted to make a note right now, Vashti Cunningham did tie the world youth record by clearing 196. I always forget she's 17 and she still fits in the youth category. So 196, she just tied the world youth record. Took 3 good attempts at 199. Now we'll have the men's 10,000 meters starting shortly. The winner from the U.S. Junior Championships, Sarak Geber-Kanan, it's declined to run. At a comfortable pace. Like I mentioned earlier, running at a pack race will work very well with such a small group. At some point in time, they can make a decision to push the pace, set their own, how they want to win this. There's not a huge amount of difference among the competitors, although Chase Weaverling does come out with a seed best of 29.30.
Not yet. No. Stand by, Maureen, stand by.
Connor Hendrickson's now pushing the pace out as Christopher Escamilla is into second and Gustavo Souza, Brazil, in third. Sitting comfortably, Chase Weaverling. Goes Hendrickson, Escamilla, and Souza.
Lone Canadian in this race, Ihab El Sandali, the Torontonian wearing hip number 7. Looks to be in 4th position right now from my vantage point, so looking very comfortable.
Yeah, I think they're just going to take it a little bit easy and then decide to push the pace. They don't want to wear each other out. It's better to run in packs, less strain, like we talked about earlier. Taking the lead is hard, and at this pace,
it's nicer to use the horsepower of all the athletes around you. They can collect energy together, conserve it, and then when it comes to the final laps, it will be every man for himself. But like you said, Adam, much better to work as a team.
They're on 32:10 pace after going 3:13 that first kilometer. This is Connor Hendrickson, Christopher Escamilla, and Gustavo Souza. As Vidal Basco of Bolivia moves into second ahead of Christopher Escamilla.
Medal ceremony, javelin, men. Ceremonia de premiación, lanzamiento de la jabalina hombres.
Connor Hendrickson comfortably leading this. Looks like Vidal Basco would prefer to start pushing this at a faster pace. Basco in the lead ahead of Hendrickson. So it's Basco, Hendrickson, and Escamilla. Then El Sendali. .505 after 4 laps. 5:06:04 in fact. Henderson second, Escamilla third, El Sendali fourth, Weaverling fifth, Souza in sixth, and Hugo in seventh, as they're all within 1:13 of each other. Just running as a pack right now. 21 laps to go. Basco ran 1:14 on that last lap. Pushing a little bit faster pace. It's about 4:56 pace instead of what they were running at 5:05. .620 through 2,000 meters, 3:07 on that second kilometer. So at 3:13 and 3:07. So Basco, Hendrickson, and Escamilla. As El Sendali has decided to move into third, and Chase Weaverling is watching El Sendali very closely.
You can tell by the way they're bunched out. They're all just on the train right now. No man exerting himself, just working as a group, falling into place here and letting the laps fall. Just a matter of time till someone has had enough, decides it's time to make their move.
They are still on right around 31-minute pace, as Basco has cranked it down a little bit to do that. They were on 32-minute pace with Hendricks in the lead. 7:34, another 74-second lap for Basco.
The only man to go sub 30 minutes in this is Chase Weaverling, the American, sophomore at the University of Virginia. He's from Maryland. Long NCAA system season, so we'll see if there's any sting left in his legs. Vidal Basco of Bolivia, happy to do the work here, leading the rest.
2,600 meters just completed. They sped up only slightly, nothing really that much faster. Basco, Hendrickson, and El Sendali, with Weaverling in fourth.
These men have to battle each other. One of the things that they don't have to battle here are the conditions. 22 degrees Celsius, cool, slight breeze. So no punishment coming from the climate. That will help with record performances, season's best.
8:49.33 for 2,800 meters. Just finished 7 laps, less than 18 to go now. Basco, Hendrickson, El Sandali. Reached 3,009.25. They went 3:13, 3:07, now 3:05. So a little bit of starting to sort this competition out. 3:05 is 30-30 pace. I have a feeling they're going to continue 3:05 and better most of the rest of this race. Usually you'll see a pack, somebody will push it out, and if whoever can handle it will stay with them. This is not enough to spread out the pack yet. Still a long ways to go. Just completing 8 laps now, 10:03. As we're clicking off 74-second splits.
This is the last event on the track for today. Remember, we started this morning bright and early with the race walk. It's supposed to start just around 8:30. And so this is the last one that will close out the show. These men want to put on a great performance, one that they can be proud of. Still 17 laps left to decide who will get the last gold medal of day number 2.
3,200 meters. They just completed now 3,400 at 10:39. So you continue, if you can, to ratchet down the pressures. Basco ran the fastest lap of this competition in 73.63. This is how the sorting out happens. Gradually ratcheting it down, seeing what people have, maybe putting a little surge to lose competitors. Classic 10K strategy. Basco leading Hendrickson and El Sandali. 16 laps to go. It looks like we're pushing a little bit, 74 on that lap, but I think Basco's picked up the pace again. It's Basco, Hendrickson, and El Sandali. And here comes Weaverling. I think he's starting to feel that this is the move. Doesn't want to get lost. But Basco has not dropped anyone yet. It's Basco, Hendrickson, Weaverling, El Sandali. And you know, the early work, it's the dirty work, the early laps, getting everyone through this and wondering who's going to do that for you, because you don't want to have the mental pressure of, for so many minutes of pushing yourself at these paces. Laps, 4,000 meters, 12:31.87 after a 74.6. That was a 3:06 kilometer.
And Vidal Basco of Bolivia just seems content to lead the fray, staying in front here. Advantage is you stay out of trouble, but disadvantage is every man behind you gets to tow, gets to draft, kind of turn their machine on in their head, the computer off in their head, turn it off, and just really coast. That exertion of mental energy is something that will factor in the later races. So Vidal has to be careful here that he's not doing too much of this work. And they're just content to let him do it.
Basco, Hendrickson, and Weaverling. The athletes that can lead and pace other runners like this and then still stay in contention, those are the real tough guys. Those are the guys that once they get faster, they're going to be the ones that can bury other competitors. And he's starting to feel the strain out there in the lead. It's Basco, Hendrickson, and Weaverling, as they've now completed 4,400 meters, 11 laps, 14 laps to go. As the pack is still fairly tight, there's still 151 separated from first to seventh. It goes Basco, Hendrickson, Weaverling, Escamilla, Sandali, Souza, and Hugo Catarleo.
They're just strung out there, and like you said, the pace not grueling enough that anyone has really, separated themselves from the pack. Still a pace that everybody can handle. We're just less than halfway, 14 laps left still to go. So we're going to see the complexion of this race here change.
I think Catarleo just cracked. I think we've lost him. We're starting to lose Souza. Just happened.
The Canadian Ehab El Sandali still in this thing, sitting right now in fifth.
It's Basco, Hendrickson, Weaverling, Escamilla. Just completed 12 laps, 4,800 meters. You're about to go to halfway. 75.04 for Basco. You could see the strain on the last lap. I think he's starting to feel it. I think we might be losing him. Somebody might make a break here. Typically, that's one of the ways is at 5K, finally the race begins. I think I'm going to guess it may happen right here because we're now down to 5 as we've lost 2 runners. They're finally starting to trail off in the back. Halfway, 15:38, that's 5K, a 3:07, as the strain seems to be hitting Basco.
We saw Connor Hendrickson, the American, just checking. He's wearing bib number 5 on his chest, just looking around just to see, okay, what's going on, how are things unfolding. Just checking in there with his teammate Weaverling.
Start feeling the tension. Start squeezing out, moving out to lane 2. Something's about to happen. That looks like they decided, maybe not. Sometimes that's a strategy decision. It's like, oh, maybe not yet. Now we have 12 laps to go. They're finishing 13, 16, 16, 51 for Basco.
So a pack of 5, and like you said, no one's really taking that chance yet, still feeling it out. Don't want to make your move too early. You make it too early, people come back on you and you have no answer, you have no gear. But you leave it too late, you can't take the sting out of a kicker's legs.
16:53 with 11.5 to go, and Hendrickson takes the lead. I think we have our move finally. Basco was really suffering there in the lead. And Hendrickson took the early lead. Basco passed him, and now it's Hendrickson's turn.
And Hendrickson has seen enough. He looks back and he did another check with his teammate Weaverling just to see, hey buddy, where you at? Passes Vidal Basco, the Bolivian, and I think we're about to see the complexion of this race change with less than halfway to go, 12 laps remaining.
We've had a definite 1-2 punch most of the day with the U.S. I think they're going to try again here. Some of it's been 1-3, but a lot of it's been 1-2. And I think he's starting to make a move here. It looks like the pace is picked up. Now, overall lap was 73.41, but I'm seeing a definite move here by Hendrickson. Basco's staying right behind him. He's getting a little bit of a break, not having to take the lead. Weaverling is right in there. He looks a little like he's struggling a bit. Weaverling is. El Sandahi looks pretty good in 4th. And in 5th is Escamilla of Mexico.
I would echo that. Weaverling doesn't look as great. If you just look at his face, his body language, the top of his body, looks like he's just struggling just a little bit much. Doesn't seem to be comfortable.
So it's Hendrickson, Basco, Weaverling, El Sandahi, and Escamilla.
It's still, if you ask me, anybody's race, but here comes Weaverling on the outside of Vidal Basco.
as we just had our fastest lap of 71. 10 laps to go. That was 6,000 meters, 18:41, 3:03 on that kilometer, our fastest by far. We are definitely seeing now the screws being turned. Let's see who can handle it.
Connor Hendrickson trying to pick some people off here, tightening the vise with 10 laps to go. Knows his teammate is behind him, knows the Bolivian is right there. The Canadian has moved into third. That's a good position for El Sandali from Toronto.
You can see in the back, Escamilla is starting to lean forward. He's straining a bit. I think he might be having some trouble here. I think he's going to be the next one to lose. And then I think Weaverling will, unless he can recover, because he's not looking good right now.
The advantage for Weaverling is the fact that he's tall. So he's able to eat up more of the track compared to all the other four men around him who are short. But yes, he looks to be laboring. Doesn't really look like he likes where he is, kind of fighting his way through these 10 remaining laps.
74-77 on that lap. It was a surge just to see who he could break. Hendrickson didn't. He clearly removed two runners, as now 6th and 7th are 150 meters back. But it's a pack of 5. He's not given himself a medal position yet. He's tried to do this early in the race. It didn't work. Now he's trying again, and he puts surges on. Let's see what he can get done.
Risky strategy here for Hendrickson, but he must know what kind of form he is, what kind of training that he's been doing. Has probably had a pep talk with his coach, with his advisors, and said, hey, this is where you make your move, and he's executing now. But on his shoulders is the Bolivian, not getting rid of him yet, and the Canadian in great position here in third, and Weaverling right there.
And even though Hendrickson's led most, or a majority of the race, he doesn't look like he's straining at all. Looks very comfortable out there.
I just feel like he's shuffle stepping through this thing right now. Hendrickson doesn't look like he's laid down the law just yet. Still too early to go.
And we always like to delay this comment, but here is a Texas competitor.
Big surprise, Austin, Texas.
Came out of South Lake Carroll, competing for Texas. Third at the U.S. Junior Championships. That's where Weaverling was second, and Sirach Gebrekadan, who we saw in the 5K, get his silver medal yesterday. Sirach decided not to run 2 races consecutively. He decided to only run the 5K. And here we are. Connor's putting in the screws. Here comes Weaverling. He's going to put his effort in to help out. 21:50 through 7,000 meters. That was a 3:09 kilometer.
So Chase Weaverling deciding to get his hands dirty here, do some of this work, help out his teammate Connor Hendrickson, and toe the line. We'll see how long he'll keep this up.
You got to say, the future looks bright for Texas.
Absolutely it does, and I really like the way these athletes are on the track from Texas. They're gutsy, they're gritty, and they're going for it.
Weaverling with the lead. Maybe he just runs like this.
I was thinking that, like, maybe he's just channeling his inner Paula Radcliffe. That just might be the way he does it. Kind of unorthodox distance running style. Of course, marathon world record holder Paula Radcliffe from England just bobbles her head, holds her arms up really high. Not the prototypical distance runner, but does it better than anybody in her day.
We saw that there in Dietz yesterday. She looks like she was suffering most of the race. We thought she was going to get caught, and nope. She wins it. Nice run for her yesterday. Today, here's another runner who looks like they're really struggling, and now he just seems to be, this is how I live. I live in pain. I strain. I make this happen.
But still, the two Americans, you can tell they're working in some kind of tandem, but they're not running fast enough, splits that are fast enough to pick off the likes of Vidal. The Canadian looks to be laboring in 5th position here, but still very much a factor. And also the Brazilian, or is that the Mexican rather, Cruz from Mexico.
So we really led them through a 74:59 lap, the last lap. might just have been the strategy for him to take the pace now when it's hardest. 74.47 for Weaverling on this lap. He's going to click off some of these. You know, you have a lot of guys who are 10K runners. They're cross-country guys. They run 8Ks, 10Ks all the time. And they know that money time is at the end. So they're used to fighting and getting to this point and just saying, okay, everyone else is ahead of me. It's time to pick off runners. It's time to do that. And I think maybe that's the attitude of Weaverling, because he's not afraid of pain.
Absolutely not. You can tell that right now. But they're not shutting the door on anybody. They're not slamming the door in anybody's face. But with that, El Sandali can't hang on, is in no man's land by himself right now, and can't get back up there with the lead group. And he's in trouble. Turns into a four-man race at the front.
And even though I mentioned Escamilla leaning forward a little bit, it might be just a technique issue. Sometimes this hamstring strength. He looks so relaxed this entire race. Escamilla might be the guy to be afraid of. The two guys that have looked bad in the middle of this race, now we're at 25.54, may actually do a little bit more than expected here.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head right now. The sleeper cell in this race might be Escamilla from Mexico, sitting in fourth right now. We haven't talked a lot about him, but again, like you said, looks really comfortable, looks smooth, not doing any of the work essentially, just is on the train for the ride and could make his mark with less than 5 laps to go.
He's just riding that line, keeping the distance as short as possible, saving up as much energy as he can.
And that's what I mean by the Americans not doing enough to pick off the likes of Vidal Basco, the Bolivian, or Escamilla, the Mexican. There's only 3 medals, and 4 of them are in the hunt. If you do the math, someone's gonna be crying themselves to sleep tonight.
It was 3:05 in that last kilometer. We're coming up on 4 laps to go when they reach the finish line. Famously, runners have used 1 mile to go as time to go. And we may not see that this time. In fact, I'm not saying that, but anytime coming soon, we can see something, a big move happen. Any of these runners could do it. They all look strong enough to do it. Even though Weaverling looks like he's suffering the whole way, that doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't have something left in the tank. He does have the best seed by far, and the only one to break 30 minutes this year.
And the more that I look at Weaverling, the more that I get this is just his style. This is his little idiosyncrasy. He just looks like he's in a lot of pain. He probably is, but that doesn't mean that it slows down his efficiency or his frequency of stride, simply just the way he looks when he runs.
And it's mostly just his face, because he's got a very simple, flowing style to his running form. He's not losing a lot in his hips. He's just placing those feet down, not doing a lot of extra outside of just being in a straight line running. Good biomechanics overall, except for the head, because the head is going to throw you off with all the energy he's wasting. But outside of his head, very good biomechanics.
And they're about to swallow up Cartrillo Hugo of Chile and lap him here.
As Weaverling dropped the first 73 since he's been the leader. All of his laps have been 74 seconds. He kept the pace going when things are starting to drop off at the hardest part of the race, near that finish, but not too close to getting too enthusiastic. And here we go. It's Basco again, making a move ahead of Hendrickson, and then it's Weaverling and Ramirez. So Basco's going to try to make his winning move right now. 27:59 with 1,000 meters to go as Basco takes the lead ahead of Hendrickson. Weaverling tucks in. Ramirez is not looking that strong right now.
Vidal Basco has seen enough. Feels like he can time it just right. Being stalked by Connor Hendrickson, and the Weaverling sits in the bronze medal position now. Less than 3 laps to go.
Basco's definitely picked up his feet, stretched out that stride, and he knows he's got to punch the accelerator if he wants to win this.
And 800 meters left to decide this race. It's a 3-man race with the Mexican trying to hang on, Escamilla Cruz.
70.83 on that lap for Basco. They ran 3:04 in the previous kilometer when he took over the lead. We just didn't mention it because now things are changing. Basco is in the lead, 1:10.83 on that lap for him. And now Hendrickson takes the lead. He's going to try and see if he can put him away. Weaverling's still in there in third, but he's losing a little bit of ground. And Escamilla is fallen out of the top four. I mean, top three. He's definitely not able to pick up the steps that we thought he might be able to, but here comes Hendrickson with a nice strong run. When he gets to the finish, it'll be one lap to go. Hendrickson's trying to put away Basco, but Basco's not giving in.
Vidal Basco trying desperately to hang on to the back of Connor Hendrickson, has about 400 meters to decide if he'll be able to hang on. Connor Hendrickson looking at the Jumbotron, seeing that he's being stalked by the Bolivian, knows that his teammate Weaverling is nowhere to help him out, and is just trying to hang on with less than 400 meters to go.
67.1, 29.42.75 with one lap to go. Fastest lap by far the entire race as they were just cruising early, and now Hendrickson's really put it on. Basco is not able to respond. If Hendrickson doesn't wear himself out, he's going to blow away with victory, and it'll be Texas in the women's 5K and the men's 10K in consecutive races if he can pull this off. 200 to go. We're at 30.14 as he ran 31 seconds on that 200. It's Hendrickson with Basco way back. He's almost 30 meters back now. Hendrickson put on such a move, Basco just could not respond. And Hendrickson is holding it. He's going to finish this final 80, looking up at the board, taking glances, and he knows now he's got it, because I'm certain he's feeling that first 300. Look at that smile on his face.
Connor Hendrickson wins the gold. Timed it just right. Vidal Basco ecstatic with silver. That's good as gold to him. And Weaverling might have edged Escamilla of Mexico for the bronze. We'll wait and see what the clock says. And Chase Weaverling does enough to hang on. Hendrickson, Basco, Weaverling, your top three finalists, your top three medalists in this event. I tell you, Hendrickson is so ecstatic with that. Took a bit of a gamble there, changed the leads a couple times, but in that final meters with 600 meters to go, knew he had it in him.
And here's El Sadahi. He will finish in fifth. And Hugo there's one more lap to go. And there's Connor Hendrickson and Chase Weaverling. Weaverling finally with a smile. Hendrickson had a smile for about 50 meters. So it's Hendrickson and Weaverling as Texas takes first in the women's 5K and the men's 10K in consecutive races. And here's Hendrickson.
You can see him here, 100 meters to go. He'll know he's all alone, but that doesn't stop him by putting his foot on this gas pedal and just turning it up. Love to see that. He knows he's gonna get there, cracks a smile before it's official, and he knows it. He gets the job done.
As Escamilla tried to chase down Weaverling, but Weaverling responded the last second. Escamilla knows the effort. He might have needed to push it a little bit earlier to get the win. He'll finish in fourth. And here's Catroleo Hugo.
The Chilean coming in. He was lapped in the final stage of this race. Catroleo Hugo of Chile finishing up as the crowd claps him on. He'll finish sixth in this 10,000 meter final. And there you have it, Connor Hendrickson, your gold medalist. Vidal Basco put up a fight but couldn't get there. Silver for him. Chase Weaverling, the other American, comes up for third, edges out Escamilla Cruz of Mexico for that bronze medal. And El Sandali, the Canadian, is fifth. Catroleo